Welcome back, Internet, and we are here with Arms Trade Tycoon tanks, continuing on in our gameplay of the early access, which is due to be released in just a couple of days on the 6th of February. So when we left off last time, we just finished designing our Schneider, our battle bus. And we were thinking about what name to give it. So we had, so far we've got a Joey, an Echidna, and an unnamed battle bus, and we've got the Bilby. So Bilby, the Echidna, the Joey, and the battle bus, which was either going to be a koala, which was just too friendly. I mean, I know they spread a lot of venereal disease, but and they smell awful, but just too friendly, I think, for a tank. This one's got quite the sting. It's got a nice 47mm gun. So, as per the commenters, we're going to name this one. Well, we're not going to rename it yet because it's still in testing, and you still can't rename a tank while it's in testing. But this will be known as the Huntsman. The Huntsman, which you do not want to find sitting in your toilet out the back on a dark night. Although mostly they tend to be behind pictures on the wall. But they are very unfriendly looking spiders, and we've got plenty of them down here. So that's going to be the name of that one. And we are on the map. We're still pulling apart the Schneider that was captured, and we're pulling apart the 1914 Hotchkiss machine gun. So once we get that done, we'll be designing some new guns. We've taken it around the test drive. It's in the proving grounds. 12 days left, and we will be moving along pretty quick pace this episode, trying to get to 1918 as quickly as possible, and we will be trying to build up the achievement points. So as you can see, we're just at the beginning of tier 1 still. Our goal is to get 400,000 points and to move into tier 2, which was the interwar period, and we want to start producing Vickers machine gun tanks if that is going to be possible, and have a look at the technology and the buildings we can build in the tier 2. So without further ado, we'll get time moving along, and we'll be back when something interesting happens. Okay, so just quickly back, we've decided we had 5 of these Mark 1 Mark 1s spare in our tank storage that I've had for a while. I never got around to selling. So for the sake of experimentation, never done this before, but I will be scrapping them and getting back some iron and parts. So we get 50% of the tank materials back when we scrap them. So just to show this off, so we produce these. I don't think we're going to be selling any more of the Mark 1 Mark 1. I could keep them in storage as replacements, but I think we'll probably be redesigning the tank if that does happen to get the latest in terms of weaponry. So we will scrap them and get some goods back. So just showing that that facility of the game. And we've finished reverse engineering the Hotchkiss 1914, so we will go and design some new machine guns, I think. So the Hotchkiss, it's the 1909, the 1914. So how will we, so the French barrel. The French parts look the best. We'll make it belt fed, and the stock. So we've got gun elevation and gun depression. The Mark II is cheaper and slightly lighter, and gives depression instead of elevation. I think we'll go for the Mark II. So slight change. Now if we make that, that will have an attribute sum of 119, which is less than our 1909 gun. So if we just pull up our current 1909, we'll keep that design. So it's got much better range, slightly less accurate, lower rate of fire, kinetic penetration is substantially less. So we've had some issues with penetrating the gun shields on artillery with our loose machine guns. So at the expense of range, what was our penetration on our loose was 4. So these actually lower penetration. But overall a better gun. Anti-ricochet is the same, damage 14, damage 14. I think the AP ammo is a 7 for the machine guns for kinetic penetration. So I think we might redesign the 1909 gun and go with that, because if we put the French bits and pieces into that, we will have... this is where the difference is on the barrel. So the French barrel gives us a much higher rate of fire and better accuracy than the Mark II, but that gives us range and better mechanical. Ooh. So overall stat wise, that's only 1 point of difference. I think we'll keep the range. And we'll keep the stock mark too. So we'll take 2 days to make that. We'll make both of them and then decide which one to throw in. But this will have a better range, the 1909, and the 1914 will be slightly more accurate, but overall a slightly worse gun. So I think we might stick with the 1909 variant. That's unfortunate. I thought being a 1914 variant, the French gun would be a lot better, but it does not appear to be. And that's the Schneider finished being pulled apart. And we'll just quickly get the testing done on the Schneider so we can rename it. British Empire. Contract number 4 also came in, so we're just under 3 million now, but now we've got contract number 5. We'll take a look at what that is for. So we're in the middle of building some Mark V tanks. They want an exploitation tank that comes in at 20 tons. Ooh. So we can build some bilbies for them. So they're a 14-ton tank. That gives us a score of 690. What's our competition? The Odysseus Mark II, which will have a score of 406, which is a whippet with some tail wheels on it. So that's just machine guns. Now, they're just looking for reliability, soft firepower, and mobility. So if we try the Schneider, the soon-to-be Huntsman. No, that's worse than the Bilby for the mobility. That loses out on mobility, and because it's just under 20 tons, you don't get much of a score for mass there. But on the Bilby, we get a massive amount of points because it's 6 ton underweight, and it meets the mobility requirements. Doesn't meet the protection requirement or the firepower requirement. So I think the Huntsman will do, the Schneider CA will do better in combat because it's got the 47mm gun. As you can see, it's got the hard firepower there. It meets the soft firepower, and it meets the protection requirements of the tank, except on the rear, bottom, and top, and sides. Well, it's not as good as I thought it was going to be. But it doesn't meet the mobility requirement. So where does it fall down there? Slope angle, slope height. So if I put wheels on the back of it, it would probably meet a lot of these. Doesn't meet the road speed, doesn't meet the cross-country speed. The engine in it is quite underdone. Doesn't meet the transportability. I think the Bilbies is going to get sold. So we will we want to sell them 30 Bilbies because I think we'll be able to produce those quite fast. 21st of the 11th I'll need that by, so that's 2 months away. So we'll try and get a bit of extra time because I'm not sure how long that's going to take to build at the moment. Go for the end of November and we can jack up the price. So these will cost us not much to build, I wouldn't think. 8,000, just under 8,000 to build, so we will be easily tripling our money. How far can we push it? 32,000, 31,000, so yeah, we are going to make a ton of cash from this. I think we're currently building Mark 5, so we might have to cancel the production that we've got going on, making our Mark 5 backups there. So we've produced 5 of them. We will quit that halfway through so we can get some of the materials back. We're waiting on a delivery from the US at the moment to resupply our stocks. How many of these can we make? So we're trying to sell 30 of them. We can make 18 now and we have to wait for more supplies to produce the rest. That'll only take 12 days to make 18 tanks. That is fast. We're going to do this with time to spare. So we'll get working on that. I probably didn't need to cancel the air kidneys. I could have finished making them and then made these tanks, but not to be. 18 Bilbies, so we'll get that manufacturing and we will be back shortly. So seeing as we are currently making some Bilbies for export, we are going to see what our second design of this, because it's quite old now, and we've got a second hull that we designed but never used. We're still going with the Tyler engine. We've got a slightly 151 attributes to 152, slightly better engine. Same tracks, still no turret, but we can put in the third version of our Hotchkiss 1909 machine gun. Oops, we don't want the Lewis in there. So this is essentially the same tank, just with a much better constructed hull and a slight upgrade to belt-fed machine guns. So that'll take 20 days. 20 days to design once we put the still an extremely cramped space. So that will be the Bilby Mark II. We'll start designing that, and we will continue manufacturing the Bilby Mark 1. And we will be sending off our 30 Bilbies. Delivery speed 12. We'll make it in plenty of time. They'll get those tanks in October. They're due at the end of November. So could have gotten more money out by reducing the date. It would be handy if we had an in-game calendar that we could use to figure these things out in the contract screen to make more money rather than doing it in our head, because for the sake of speed at the moment I'm just sort of leaving myself plenty of time. So I could have probably got a fair bit more cash if I'd known the exact dates I was working with, but that's fine. So we will send them off. That'll be another contract fulfilled. And the research for the low pass gear is about to come in. We'll start back on producing the echidna tanks for when a new assault tank is needed. So we'll produce another 5 of those so we don't keep the factory busy for too long in case another contract comes in. And we're just trying to, at the moment, build up some stocks of tanks so we can respond quickly and make even more money. We've got goods coming in as well. And there we go. Improved low pass running gear has been researched. So we can go to engineering, and I don't think we've designed the Hornet hull yet. So we'll need to design the Hornet hull and tracks, and we can make a Hornet for these 20-ton contracts, which will be an upgrade. So we will continue on and get the extended high pass running gear for our echidna tank, and then we'll probably pick up the engine. So we'll grab the tadpole tracks. That'll take 45 days. And we just got to wait for the design of our new Mark 1 tank to come in, and then we will design the Hornet. And we'll wait for the contract to be completed. And the Brits are at war again with the Belgians, and our tanks, the Mark 1 Mark 1s from 2nd Battalion, there's 30 of them, are going up against the artillery battalion that was battered in the last war against the Belgians and is at half strength. So hopefully we will be able to win that battle. We have had trouble with the Mark 1s actually hitting their targets and being able to bring their guns to bear, so that'll be interesting, worthwhile keeping an eye on. That's the only battle in the world at the moment that's involving our tanks. We will continue producing echidnas. Looks like the Mark 2 is up as well. I could have sworn I had 10 of those in stock. Oh well. So we will put our Bilby into the testing grounds. We'll pop over to engineering and we will design our Hornet. So there we go. We'll want to make this out of steel. We'll use the French bolting method. Get some ammo. Now, do we want the periscope? They're identical in every way, the periscope and the hatch on top. I think we'll go, the hatch looks a bit more solid. External comms Mark 2. To increase communications, we'll want fuel storage. Vision port Mark 2. Ventilation Mark 2. Hull hatch Mark 3. Slightly better. What sort of weight are we looking at? At the moment only 10 tons, so not that heavy. We'll put a wooden bar for trench crossings. I don't think we'll bother putting any wheels on, just because I don't think it's fashionable for a cavalry tank to have have a bunch of trench wheels sticking out the back. Although probably for stats it would be great, but we'll save ourselves the near on 400 kilos. That's more than the improved armor. So we'll go with this steel. So lots of extra doodads. Medium Hornet. There we go. And then after that we'll need to design a set of tracks. That'll take 21 days for the hull. Then I presume another 10 days or so for the tracks. Hopefully we can get it sorted out before we get a new contract. An alliance between France and Liberia. Okay. Would have thought Liberia would be US concern, but obviously without the US being in the game now, it's going to be French. And Switzerland and the Empire of Ethiopia have entered into a non-aggression pact. I wonder if the Italians will go for Ethiopia like they did historically. Okay, they received our bilbies. So, contract number 5's completed. We have 3.5 million in the bank. And we've got no contracts outstanding. So, we just need more contracts now. So, we will come back when the Hornet's ready. And now we need to design the Hornet tracks. So we're getting a number of parts here. I believe the French would give us a bit more agility, but less repairability. So on a Hornet, we might want the agility, I'm thinking. Might go for that. Just the one set of track inserts. Mudshirts Mark II, direct upgrade. So slightly better cross-country speed at the cost for 500 kilos with lower range. Do we want slightly better speed and lower range? I think we do. We want a fast tank. And the sprocket Mark IV. Yes, that is the best. So that'll be another 9 days and we will be able to get ready to design our Hornet. And we have received an update from the front. 2nd Battalion, under the command of Sir Thomas Baldock, of Mark 1 Mark 1s, has defeated the Belgian artillery, gaining more fame for our Mark 1 Mark 1 tank. So, once again, we destroyed half their remaining strength, so their artillery is now at 25% strength, or strength of 6, while our tanks haven't taken any casualties, and we are green across the board with exemplary performance, deployment, recon, and targeting. We seem to have no problems when we're fighting artillery. We seem to have all sorts of problems when we're fighting infantry, but no problems fighting artillery. And our Hotchkiss 6-pounders made mincemeat, getting very strong scores. And our tanks once again are very strong at dodging. No trouble with the penetration, no trouble with damage. So they took 10 damage altogether, but they were managed to recover 4 guns, so they're back up to 6. They would have been down to 2 if they didn't manage to repair those. So that's a good performance by our tanks. We're back into winning ways on the Belgian front, and we should be winning here. It'll be interesting to see if our tanks come up against the infantry, if we fail again. But for now, it's looking quite good. So interesting news, as France has embraced a groundbreaking stride in military doctrine by incorporating a novel tank type, saturation tank, into its arsenal. So they are now going to be looking for tanks. So if we open up the world map, we can zoom in on France. Under their tank cores, so they're still yet to buy any tanks, but they are looking for wire crushing tanks coming in at 20 tons and a saturation tank coming in at 10 tons. And I do not believe I can make a 10-ton tank at the moment because I don't have any LKs or FT-17s captured, which I think are the only two tanks in the game at the moment that can come in under 10 tons. I don't think the Whippet's about 13, 14 tons, so it's not going to be able to make the contract for a saturation tank. So if France comes knocking for saturation tanks, we're not going to be able to fulfill that unless we capture I've forgotten the name of the German tank, but it's the LK or the Renault FT-17, which is a French tank. I think it was 7 or 8 tons historically. So if we capture one of those, we should be able to make that contract. But if that contract comes up, we will not be able to participate, which will be interesting to see what company does do it then. So at the moment we have got 30 echidnas in stock, 30 Mark II bilbies or Mark B bilbies in stock. We're working on new engines. I don't think we'll work on an upgrade to the echidna, maybe do a engine and track upgrade at the same time on that. But for now everything's fine, so we will just continue on as is. And we can have a look at how our tanks are doing against the infantry. So it looks like a resounding victory there, so we didn't have problems when we've got the famous Sir Thomas Baldock in command of our units. Didn't seem to have any problem with targeting this time. So quite high targeting scores. Not too many problems, so it looks like before the issue was, I mean, we're still in town and we're in the hills, so we're in pretty bad terrain for tanks. Did we select the Lewis? Oh, we did fire with the Lewis. So that the Lewis machine gun got used. So critical hits with our 6-pounder, machine gun hit, and their return fire missed. So what sort of damage did we do? Whoa! We wounded over 5,000 men with our 30 tanks, killing almost 3,000 of them. This is a resounding victory for our tank battalion. Our struggles against the Belgian infantry in the last battles are gone. The Mark 1 Mark 1s, when they're put under an officer's command, have done a great job. So how many infantry got... So 1,200 returned to active service. We took no casualties at all on the tank side of things. So early access being early access, we just had a drop there from looking at that battle, and had to replay a little bit, so it looks like the outcome of the battle was about the same. So they repaired about 1,200 of their men, and they took some rather significant casualties, 8,500 men casualties. So the battalion is down to 2,680 men, and they are shaken. So both the arty and the remaining troops of the Belgian army are shattered. We've got a full infantry brigade, a full brigade of cavalry, a full artillery brigade, and 30 tanks against a very annihilated force of Belgians. And on the map, there's not much left. We can't see where the Brits are fighting though. Where are we fighting the Belgians? Oh, is this going on in Africa? Belgian Congo. No, France is fighting the Kasai in Africa. I thought Belgian Congo was somewhere around about here. Maybe this is the wrong period of history for it. I'm not sure where they're fighting. We've got the Spaniards and the Portuguese. We've got the Italians and the French, Hungarians, the Russians, the Greeks and the Albanians. I do not know where we are fighting the Belgians. I suppose I could always just read it. Campaign and Giver. It sounds like it's in Africa. It's just where in Africa is it? I'm sure somebody from the comments with much better handle on geography will let me know that it's staring me in the face. No, that's the French. I do not know. I don't know where that fight's taking place, but we do know that Germany has invaded the Low Countries, so that stands to reason. They're in the Netherlands at the moment, fighting there. They've got their artillery up against the cavalry, so the Netherlands cavalry might have a chance here. They should be a good match, you would think. Fast-moving light cavalry against artillery in place. They should have a good chance to win that battle. So we'll go back to our local map and we will be waiting for some contracts to come. And speak of the devil, and just a couple of days after I paused out there, contract number 6 has come in for 6th Battalion. So there's already 6 armoured battalions by the British, and it's a supply contract. What sort of tanks are they looking for? Vanguard tanks. We'll be able to sell them our echidnas. So what are we up against here? The Hector Mark II. Got to beat a score of 412. So I'm sure down the line we're going to have a hard mode or something. It might already be. I haven't played on the hard mode yet. I've only been playing on the mid-level that I'm on at the moment. But maybe we won't get these scores. It'll be a lot more obtuse as to what you need to beat. Because at the moment it's just too easy to win all the contracts. So we've got 30 of these, and that's a nice score. That's a very nice score. So we've got 30 echidnas. We should be able to absolutely rinse them. We have 30 in stock, so if we supply them with 30 and we'll give ourselves, what's the date today? 10th of the 12th. So if we give ourselves to the 10th, that's 4 weeks. We don't need that long. We'll give ourselves to the 1st. Give ourselves 3 weeks. I mean, that is plenty of time. That's twice as much time as we need. But what can we get the price up to if we do that? Can we get all 54,000? We can. We can even. I mean, that's enough safety. We're going to get 54,000 per tank, so we're going to be making about 35,000 per tank in profit, for a total of 1.62 million for the contract. So we are going to do that. As soon as that accepts that, as they accept that, we'll start getting the echidnas off, and we will start work on the Echidna Mark II pretty soon. We're 22 days away from getting the engine completed, and then we'll develop an engine, the 6-cylinder engine that we're researching at the moment, and put that and the new tracks onto the tank. And yes, that's going very nicely. Okay. So we will come back when the contract is filled. Right, and our drop bear is finished designing. So we are going to test drive it first and then go to the proving ground. So if we were to get it on the proving ground now, it would take a time of 1:32. I will just note that down. So the experiment here is we wish to see if we test drive it first, does our testing time come down at all? And this was noticed by one of the commentators from one of the earlier videos. So we will, I still haven't fixed the errors on the Schneider tank yet. I probably have to want to retire some of these designs soon so that we don't have to scroll through them all. So here is the drop bear. Oh, that is one nice looking tank and very thick treads on it. Bit slower than the Schneider. Well, it feels slower. The Schneider turned on a dime though, so it felt very, very quick to drive. Like a small battle bus, like you know those minivans with the wheels on them the size of a scooter wheel or moped wheels. Is how it felt to drive. This seems more like a piece of industrial equipment, which it most certainly is. And so we are coming on the backside of the trench. So this is where the Whippet failed and where the Schneider succeeded. And I do believe the Hornet should be able to do this trench. But we will see. We will see. And easily, very easily. So this is the same engine as the Whippet engine. It's a much heavier tank, and yeah, no problems. So we will be able to finish off the course quite handily with 3 minutes to spare. This does not seem anywhere as zippy as the Huntsman though, but by all purposes, the Huntsman was not a good tank when going for the lighter tank rolls compared to the Bilby. So we'll see how that measures up. So now that we go to test it, it's 132, so that's the same amount of time. So 17 days to test for the drop bear. Well, that testing process didn't work out for us, but we shall send off our tanks to complete the Echidna contract. Medium will do. Oh, we haven't been accepted for that contract yet. We can't do that. So we will just head back. I did apply for it, didn't I? Yeah, I did apply for it with the Echidna. The application is under review. Accepted. We will send those tanks off and put some money in the bank. So our Echidnas, can we just, yes we can. We can just type that in. We'll send them 30. Sign the order. They'll be off and we will be getting about 1.5 million for that. So that'll pop us back up again. Oh. What have I done there? I've pressed some key that tried to do something. That's what I want to look at, not the legend. I want to look at the achievements. So we are now up to 16,000 points. So once this contract comes in, we should have plenty of money. Oh, tank delivery delay, 7 days. Oof. So Belgium retreated after pulling back as field hospitals are forced to set wounded men upon the bare floor to continue operating. Well, with the losses they took, that would seem to be the case. British Empire's armed forces have bloodied them beyond measure, which is what we were trying to do. It looks like the Nords are at war against each other. So the inline engine has finished completion, as we will upgrade our 6-pounders to make a nice anti-tank echidna version. So we will start the research on weapons upgrades, go to engineering, and look at the engines. We want to build a Ricardo. So Mark 3s are by far the best. Radiator Mark 3, a bit less range than the Mark 2. Much better slope angle, worse crew comfort, and this is 200 kilos lighter and far cheaper to build. I might stick with the Radiator Mark 2, I'm thinking. Better range, worse slope climbing, but better crew comfort. Not that the crew comfort's a major concern. Tank performance while scaling a slope. I think we'll stick with the Mark II radiator. I could be making a big mistake there. It doesn't seem to, stats-wise, all these carburetors seem to do the same job. The French one seems, well, it's smaller, it's lighter, and statistically it's the same. We'll stick with the French carb. The flywheel, definitely go with the Mark III, and the transmission. So for a touchless road speed, we get better agility, slightly worse cross-country speed, and better power with the Mark III transmission over the Mark II, but the cost is about double. So slightly worse speed, but better agility. Agility is used for dodging, so that'll be good for defense. Yeah, I think we'll go for the Mark III. It's an extra 300 kilos. Some of these decisions are quite marginal, it seems. We'll have a look. We'll rebuild the Tyler twin, see if we can get some more power out of that with these new parts. But we'll get building that. That's a 154 attribute engine. So that's slightly better than our current Tyler twin, which is 152, but that's a lot lighter. That's 1.4 tons lighter for the Tyler. So I wonder if this really is that big of an upgrade, and whether it's going to be a big performance boost for the Ricardo here. I mean, the Tyler over the Daimler Knight was this massive doubling in effectiveness as an engine, and this Ricardo 6 is more of a move sideways, but we'll see how it turns out. And it feels like it'll be a bigger engine for a bigger tank. Does that make sense? Well, that's how it's working in my head at any rate. So we'll get the engineers working on that, and then we will design the upgrade for the echidna. We've delivered the echidna, so we're now richer. See how we're going on our achievements. 18,000. So still a very long way to go to hit tier 2. So, and it's 1916, so we've, in 6 months' time, we'll be playing for 2 years. And we have not made a dent. So we're going to assume that those end researchers are worth a lot of points for moving into tier 2. And more combat going on. I wish there was some way to regulate the message spam that comes up. Norway and Denmark at war. I mean, we've only sold tanks to the British at this stage, so we're really not interested in what's going on in the world unless our tanks are involved, and so only the British wars are of interest to us, and Britain doesn't seem to be involved in anything at the moment. So there's no tanks elsewhere in the world yet. Nobody's come knocking to buy ours. So the engine is ready. We'll go to the design bureau. We will grab our Mark V. We shall clone our design. So we're using the 247mm in that at the moment. We can upgrade the guns to the Mark III. Which is just a move sideways with a few extra parts in them. And we will... Do we have any new expendables? No, no, no. Take out the Tyler. Put in the... Not the Daimler. The Ricardo. Put in the Tadpole. So that we've got the wheels clipping through the side on that. I mean, is there any point to these wheels now? I mean, we're going to leave them on for the stats for these variety of tanks, because you get quite a few nice stats for your trench crossing and that, but realistically on this tank you wouldn't think those wheels do anything with the size of the tracks now in physical reality. And what happened to our sponsons? Just disappeared, did they? I mean, what is the accuracy now that I've rebuilt those guns? So I did a redesign on the 6-pounders, putting the parts that I got from researching the 3-pounders. So that's an accuracy of 20, accuracy of 24. I think I'm going to stick with the smaller, more accurate guns, which will takes less crew and takes less crew for the tank. Although we might want to throw another mechanic in here. We've got 2 gunners, a loader, 2 mechanics. We could do with another commander, but we can't do that until we research the turret for the Mark Vs here. So we'll call that the Mark V Echidna. Won't call it the clone though. 2. Save that. Assign that. That'll be 41 days to get that. So it doesn't look like we're really saving any time on designing that. And with 41 days now, we might want to look, and being quite secure in terms of cash, we might want to look at what we can do to build here. I've built an optimization department and a localization department, which reduces the cost of materials and the cost in man hours of the tanks we design. What we want is to design quicker, I guess. So we could get functionality, resource costs, man hour costs, compliance, defect severity, tank design process time. That's what we want. That's only 10%. We can fit 30 engineers in there at the moment, so we could get a 25% increase in speed by putting on an ergonomics office. And then there's the breakthrough, which is just a 5% chance of designing it automatically, which is 1 in 20, which might be lucky if it happens once per game. So I'm not too sold on the breakthrough office, and it's not something you want to count on. It would just be a nice thing to happen. So I guess we will build an ergonomics office to fit more engineers in to help speed that up. So there we go. So we will start designing that. That'll be 41 days away, and we shall wait for another contract to come in. On second thoughts, that's all we've got time for today. So please leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to see more. I should be coming back with another video tomorrow. I'm debating in my head whether to just play a couple of years tonight and come back tomorrow with the game further advanced. So if you've got a strong opinion one way or the other, please leave a comment below and let me know if you prefer to see me skip forward a couple of years to look at the end century technology before the early access hits Steam, if you want to see that, to help you make a decision on buying or not. In 3 days this will be available on Steam, so on the 6th of February. So we've only got a few more episodes left. I tried to move a bit faster this time, but I still think we're not moving through the years fast enough to reach tier 2 before we reach the release of the game. If you wanted to have a look at that before it releases. So let me know what you prefer me to do, whether you prefer me to just plod along slowly through the years, or whether you want me to off-camera play through a couple of years to come back to some later technology so you can see a greater breadth of the tanks that are on offer in this initial offering from Fungi Software. So let me know what you think, and yeah, subscribe to the channel, throw in a like, and everyone take care. Have a good weekend. I'll see you all later. Bye.